Hi Aura. Aura, please can you get me yesterday's performance report? Please create a comparison between yesterday, last month and last year. And please make sure that you do not assume and you are exactly giving me the outliers, and the exceptions that have happened. And please give me this report within the next 2 minutes. My boss really needs this in the next 5 minutes, so I need to review this and then turn it over to him. So please do a good job. Thank you.
Sandanda, who is this you're talking to?
That's Aura, my new data analyst.
What happened to Meera?
Meera, she's on maternity, and so I really needed somebody to help me with the work that she does.
Wow. Now that's an interesting time that we're living in. I think it's all about leading change where you have teams with AI and human beings. Guys, you must come along with us because this one is going to be special. Welcome to the 5M Talks, making middle management meaningfully mindful.
Hi guys, I'm Sandanda.
And hi, I'm Goautam, and welcome to the 5M Talks.
Where we talk about making middle management meaningfully mindful. What we're trying to do here is delve into the often overlooked world of the middle manager.
Using the quirky burger logo where the top bun represents the senior management and where the base represents our teams and the doers, we represent the juicy patty, the patty that strives to work towards betterment of the organization, that stitches the bun together, creates the juice, gets the spice, and really packs the punch.
While most podcasts focus on thought leadership from the top, here at 5M Talks, we center our conversations on the middle managers who are the unsung bridge of every organization.
This is our earnest attempt to bring that voice of the middle manager right into the forefront, and we'd love you to be part of this journey. So, come along.
Welcome to 5M Talks. Hi, I'm Sandanda.
Hi, and I'm Goautam, and welcome to the 5M Talks, where we are making middle management meaningfully mindful.
As middle managers, you are not now dealing only with a human workforce, but you are going to have a mix of an AI workforce and a human workforce, and you are definitely going to be thinking about what roles do these teams play, how do they complement each other, and how can I be fair, right? And how can I fairly keep the human workforce motivated while AI is significantly contributing into the team. So that's what we're going to talk about.
Sandanda, let's start with the difficult question. If AI can do so much, will middle management even exist in the next 10 years?
It's an uncomfortable question, but I don't have any doubt that middle management will still exist. So what will go away is the administrative element of it all, right? The administrative leadership will disappear. But definitely the human leadership will always remain, and the emotional quotient aspect of it all is going to remain, right? Because leadership is not just about task execution. It has an element of human and emotional quotient to it, right? So that's going to remain according to me.
Interesting. Explain to our viewers a little bit more. I am still not fully convinced. What do you mean by human leadership won't be replaced and administrative leadership will?
So AI can support leadership, but I don't think it will replace leadership completely, right? Because human connection always matters.
That's powerful, Sandanda. Maybe the real question isn't if AI is going to replace human beings, but the real question is which parts of work will humans be doing?
So if a middle manager's value comes only from reporting, reporting on tasks or reporting on outcomes, creating summaries and doing presentations and slides, of course, that element is going to disappear because AI can do that better than you and definitely faster than you, right? But I believe leadership isn't only about reporting, right? Or is it about creating presentations? Much larger than that. Leadership is about judgment, influencing stakeholders, resolving conflicts, managing emotions, building trust, developing people, right? So AI can augment and support leadership, but it can never take out the human element of it, and it cannot, replace the human leadership completely. That's what I
So practically, you're managing a team. where does AI fit
I
in?
would divide, work into two parts, right? One that requires human intuition and human leadership, and the other which is more skill oriented, right, and repetitive. Let's talk about it. That can be led by AI, right? So let's talk about the first element, right, which is human-led work, right, where you need empathy, where you need to be coaching people, where you need to be influencing stakeholder decisioning, where you need to be, managing conflicts, right, strategic thinking, right, making sense out of when ambiguous situations are presented to you, giving clarity to that. So these are the human elements, right, where you need to be coaching people, motivating people. So this is the human element and human-led work. So I call it human-led work. The other element is, that can be AI-led work, right, which can be automated. Things that are repetitive, things that, that require some level of synthesis, but it can be done, which AI does best, right? Let's say creating a presentation, creating reports, data analysis that Aura was doing. There is, setting up a meeting, right? Scheduling meetings, creating a wireframe, creating business requirement documents. So where it's very skill oriented, right? Where it's something that requires skill oriented, that an SME could work on, right? So this is the AI element of work. So this is the AI side of work. So this is how I would divide these two elements, right?
So let me understand this.
Yeah.
Things that are very specific to humans,
Yes.
like empathy, like trying to make them feel special or make them understood or being heard. I think those elements will still very much be a part of the core of what a middle manager should do. What we've seen earlier, a middle manager rose to the ranks because he was very skilled, and basis that he was rewarded by having teams. But now, since all of those skill-based tasks are being kind of offloaded onto AI and AI teams, I think the USP of a human middle manager, if there is one,
Yes.
then I think would be to focus on the human side
Human
of
side
people.
of it, yes.
So are we thinking of or middle managers becoming coaches and mentors to basically uplift the teams during times when they themselves are having an identity crisis?
Yeah.
Because what I understand here is that while there'll always be, this versus this, and in many of the cases, what we're seeing is the AI element is going to take either more brownie points because of the fact that they are equally faster, or they are, they give more context. But where does the middle manager here
So let me
feel that there is parity between both of them?
Correct. So my thought around this is this, right? So we did talk about the human aspect of leadership and what tasks that will be automated. But one common element in all this, Gautam, is that the accountability, right? The accountability of it all. Where does it lie, right? Will the accountability of any outcome, right, that driven by AI, will it lie with an AI or will it lie with a human? And that's the answer to your question, right? So that's why I still believe that humans are always required. It's not just being in the loop or humans in the loop. But I say humans are in the forefront here because at the end of the day, the accountability is the key, and accountability will always be with the human. That's the differentiator here, according to me.
I understand where you're coming from, but for example, me as a middle manager really sees the fact that AI-based teams purely can actually do my work better. Then do I actually need teams which are made of humans? Yes, I take accountability of that team, but that team composition, maybe I feel I don't want to put in the hard work of listening to everyone's individual states of mind, because that itself is a big challenge in today's scheme of things for a middle manager, right? We have to individually connect with that particular team member, understand where they're coming from, give them the weight, time of when they require, and that's where the emotional intelligence comes into play. But in the cutthroat competition where we are, do we really need to put in that effort if we can actually get our work done, which are, suppose, very manual? We don't require teams which are,
correct,
human.
So you're right, because that's where the today's team composition, right? I still remember in my last role, I had about 15 people reporting into me. And now when I look back and I could say, okay, 70% can be done by AI agents, but I would still hold on to that 30% for simply because I want accountability. I was listening to a podcast by our, by our super ex boss, and there was an interesting question there in the podcast, right? This was about how banks are, committed to customers, right? So you have AI agents that is, doing a lot of work in the background. You have your customer's consent, right? For in the way, his requests are processed, the usage of AI. We can get a consent and we can agreement with the customer. But eventually when something breaks and when something goes wrong, who is accountable? Who is accountable here, right? Is the bank accountable, or is the customer accountable, or is the AI accountable? So that's the larger question. So that's why I reiterate that at the end of the day, accountability still needs to be with a human, and that's where we're going to add value. And so even as a middle manager who is operating now, now that I still have that job of middle management, my focus would be on making sure that I have humans who understands AI, who can, kind of give tasks to AI, but eventually the accountability. I need someone to be accountable for the output. I can't, if AI fails, who do I give this accountability?
As long as your key customer is a human being, we require human beings.
And we need that accountability, right? But if our customers turn into bots, that's why middle managers may continue to exist, because the leadership wants someone to blame.
Correct, but we also want someone to blame, which is why we have team members who are...
So that passes on, right? We need someone to be...
I just feel this is the best time to be an entrepreneur, where you don't require the massaging of the egos of individual employees, and where they come from. Yes, it's good to have diversity and inclusion and get everybody's 100% view on the table, but we've seen how that spans out. People are not very transparent and honest, whereas in such agentic AI-based team members, one can clearly say that, okay, cut the faff, be very honest, and don't try to go along with my narrative, and you can expect the truth to come out, at least to that extent. So I think sometimes to show and probably be as a conversation starter, I think that's where AI can also help, where you have that sounding board where you start with 10 different things. This is what I'm thinking about a particular idea, which is not a repetitive task, but more to do with initiatives or big projects where you're trying to understand the feasibility of a particular project, or whether it makes sense, or do the numbers stack up. I think just to have a buddy next to you, just to get aligned and fine tune, I think that's where also I feel like a strategic advisor within a small team can help. And probably some things which at an overall organizational level, their strategy, and to align with that strategy, how can we align both? So some of the episodes that we did was that, while we want to do in a particular thing, but the management has their own view, and we feel that we need to, the management doesn't listen to us. And in such cases, incorporating those blind spots, which probably an agentic AI can actually help us to bridge that gap. I think those elements can help a middle manager still feel that he is relevant and can contribute.
Correct.
Doesn't seem to be alienated. So we definitely would require middle managers. It's about repurposing ourselves to the requirements.
And I think with the kind of AI tools that's available in the market, it's very easy for us, right, to kind of structure ourselves better, to position ourselves better, and equip ourselves better. So
So what kind of tools do you normally use in your day-to-day work, or even outside of work? Are there any tools that you use to improve your productivity?
Yeah, I have more than one AI working for me. I call them various names. So
yes, we know Aura for sure.
Yeah, Aura is there. She's a Claude assistant. I created her specifically for data analytics. But so when it comes to a strategic leadership presentation, I use another agent. I use so when I have to whip up presentations with a lot of images and I need something more picturesque, then of course I go for Gemini. ChatGPT is more from researching and benchmarking, but at task level, I really trust Claude a lot, right? So I have these various tools that are there that's kind of accelerating and augmenting what I do. But definitely, I always give it the Sandanda touch, right? That authenticity that I bring in is with my experience. So I do understand when it hallucinates. I do understand when it's giving me something to keep me happy, and so I'm able to spot those blind spots, and I think that's where I add value on the top. And I do have. That's why I said so. I have Aura, but I still do have Meena, who not only checks, but who also brings that human aspect, because she understands the context of the organization. She understands the politics in the organization. She understands that perhaps this kind of positioning, or it's between me and Meena, we understand that this kind of positioning may not suit certain aspect of the strategy of the middle of our leadership. So we bring in that element, right? So while there's a lot of work being done by AI, there is on the top the contextual understanding and sentiment that we bring in.
So I think then longevity or loyalty to the organization actually can be a very clear trump card at the hands of the middle managers to understand context.
Yeah.
And why things are happening beyond what is happening.
Yeah, not the technical context or the process context, but the organizational context, the sentimental context, the value-driven context, right? That's something that people have, right, and bring to the table.
So I have something similar with Claude again. There's this whole prompt called Ask the Council. So what I normally do is that whenever I'm trying to find out whether this particular, say, proposal is fully exhaustive or not, then I kind of put it to the council to check and do their own debate. So it could be a brand content strategist, it could be actually a production head, it could be an editing head, whether this makes sense or not. And as you mentioned, it really brings out those blind spots which probably I'm not completely aware of. And by doing all of this, you really have a council of advisors, I would say, that can give you all the power that you need at the touch of your mobile phone. And I think that's a very, very powerful tool that we have. And I think it's our mind that can be as...
Sometimes I take outputs from more than one tools for a similar task and kind of amalgamate that and take the best out of it. So these are the decisions and judgments that we always bring to the table. That's why I have not lost hope on the fact that human managers will continue to exist.
I think one more point is about the fact that with AI getting to know us over time, there'll be a point where we will start feeling a good level of comfort in terms of not really taking time to make small tweaks, because over time it's really perfected when it comes to our language we want. And in that, when such a situation happens, we might just lose out on our intuitive intelligence that we bring along during each decision that we make using the output from an AI. And I think that's where the fear is, that when you stop using that part of your brain that really decides that what you're doing is right, that gives you the confidence level that my way is the right way. And I think once that confidence is shaken up, I think that's not going to be very, very good for the middle manager. So always have that discretion, as we said, have it as an input, but take the final call. And have that accountability for that particular output only to yourself.
Absolutely.
The fear that nobody talks about honestly. Let's face facts, Middle managers are scared. Our teams are scared. We've seen mass layoffs happening in various organizations that have always been at the forefront of saying that it's never going to be replacing human beings. And we see that our existing present is something that we are witnessing. So in all of this, roles are evolving. How do we handle this, Sonam?
AI doesn't always, at least at this stage, AI is not replacing humans. AI is replacing humans that are not well versed with AI. right? Humans that are not using AI. So be a super user of AI and your AI knowledge, and that's the way to remain relevant at today's times. There's no other way, right?
True.
Your versatility with using AI tools is the only way to remain relevant at any stage, at any given point in time.
I also feel that with AI coming in, there will be no specific teams doing specific tasks.
Yeah.
A product guy could be doing marketing for all you know. A marketing guy could be doing digital,
Yeah.
because with the help of these agents and these intelligence,
You are able to upskill yourself, right?
yeah, there's no subject matter expert per se that call is going to be taken only by a particular team unless they're really skilled. So I think investing in skill development of yourself and the team becomes extremely important.
I think that it is not about you building a SME skill or an expertise in a particular area, but it's about how well versed you are with using AI. I think that's the skill. The new skill is not about creating a specific skill, let's say on wealth management or on digital marketing or on product development. It's about how best you can utilize AI so that you become versatile.
Exactly.
Right? So it's not about you honing your skills in one area. It's about you honing your skills on how you can use AI to do any job that comes your way.
True.
Right? Because today's job landscape is changing. Right? Any specific skills are becoming redundant. So if it's all your capability to use AI in any field, right? And equipping yourself to use AI in any field is what's going to be the next level of the job market. AI agents doing various elements, and your only contribution is the final accountability and final decision making and providing the human element. That's going to be a very rare commodity going forward.
I think another point is building trust.
Yeah.
I think the human trust can never be replaced by an AI trust.
Yeah.
The trust of saying that I put my neck on the line, I will deliver this. I think that human trust that humans have with each other, I think that's going to be very, very special. And the more you understand the plethora of services or use cases that one can have beyond just what your expertise is, I think that will be a very deadly combination for keeping not just middle manager, any employee very functional, productive and deployable. I think this is an open framework. I think normally we do have frameworks, but this is an evolving space. Yes. There is no need to recommend any framework. Just jump and dive into it and explore the unlimited potential of the times that we are living in.
Correct. And be mindful about the human element that you are bringing into this AI world, the human cognitive element in a world full of AI agents. And that's what's going to make you special.
True. Be definitely mindful and be humble in this process. I think it's a very humbling process when you understand that what took us forever and we really took a lot of pride in saying that we are the experts now comes out of one agent in less than a minute, and you just feel, wow.
Yep.
Where is my self-respect that I used to have and which the organization or the sector or the industry used to give me? I think that's where I think we need to be mindful. Always center yourself. Don't compare yourself with an agent. You're definitely aiming for failure. Then it's your unique self, and don't let that authority go away from you to decide, to arbitrage. Never let go of that accountability. I think that's important.
Living with an thought, technology drives efficiency. So AI is all about efficiency and improved productivity. But people create meaning, and leadership brings about balance. So that's what middle management is going to continuously do, even in the world of AI. Bringing balance, bringing accountability, bringing meaning, and judgment. So stay tuned to Final Talks, where we make middle management meaningfully mindful.
Yes, signing off.